When Adana said, I do, she never knew she was marrying pain itself. She cooked his meals with love, yet he fed her with insults. She prayed for peace, yet woke up to bruises. She stayed, not because she was weak, but because marriage is till death do you part. Adana was the kind of woman any man would pray for. Soft-spoken, calm, and deeply respectful. She grew up in Enugu in a quiet Christian home. Her mother raised her to believe that a woman's endurance is her crown and not marriage, and that marriage is till death do us part. That mindset followed her into her union with Obinna. At first, everything seemed perfect. Obinna was charming during courtship, but once the wedding bells faded, his true nature showed. He started coming home late, smelling of strange perfumes, with lipstick smudges on his collar. When Adana would question him, he'd silence her with either harsh words or worse, a slap. Adana endured in silence. Every Sunday she wore her brightest smile to church, but under her sunglasses were swollen eyes. She cooked, cleaned, and made excuses for Obina's behavior. Meanwhile, his sisters Ngozi and Chinwe treated her like a maid. They would insult her, take her belongings, and tell people in the neighborhood that Adana was barren and useless. Obina, he encouraged it. One day, Adana saw a receipt for a gold engagement ring in his drawer. She confronted him gently. He laughed in her face. Don't stress yourself. You'll meet her soon. Her name is Chisom. She's everything you are not. Hmm. Chisom arrived like a storm, loud, flashy, and commanding. She didn't move into the same house. Obinna rented a new apartment for her. Adana remained in the old house, reduced to nothing more than a glorified maid whenever Obinna brought guests around. To make things worse, Obinna's sisters now worshipped Chisom. They posted her pictures online calling her real queen. Chisom, on the other hand, was no fool. She controlled Obinna with threats and seduction, and he spent on her recklessly. Adana watched silently as her husband brought Chisom home and also bought her a new car while she had to borrow money to treat an infection. Adana nearly lost herself. Depression locked. One night, she stood on the balcony and thought, maybe it's better if I just fall. But her phone rang. It was her mother. Adana, remember what I told you? Her mother said, marriage is still dirt. We don't live, we endure and pray. Adana didn't respond. Her mother's words echoed like curse. One day at the market, Adana helped an old woman who fainted. The woman turned out to be the mother of a wealthy pastor in Abuja. Adana's kindness earned her a connection that opened doors. She was offered a role at the pastor's NGO in charge of women empowerment program. Adana, still living with Obina but emotionally detached, started traveling and attending seminars. Slowly, she found her voice again. Meanwhile, Chisom began to show her true colors to Obina. Chisom was no Adana. She didn't endure nonsense. One day, Obina raised his voice during an argument and Chisom slapped him. Another day, he raised his hand. That was the last straw. The next week, while Obinna was coming out of the lounge, thugs jumped at him. They beat him mercilessly. One of them whispered in his ear, Madam say make we warn you. You know they beat her like that first mumu wey no dey talk. Na me Chisom you dey try. He lay there bleeding, confused and humiliated. While he was hospitalized, none of his family came. Chisom switched off her phone. His sisters were more concerned about sharing posts on Instagram than visiting him. Only Adana came. Quietly, she stood by his bed and dropped a small bottle of anointing oil on the table. I forgave you a long time ago, she said, but I also forgave myself for allowing myself to be broken in silence. She walked out stronger than ever. He called her name, but she didn't look back. Adana became a speaker for women across Nigeria. Her story touched many. She gave speechless speeches, published a book titled The Strength Behind Silence, and started her own foundation to support women in abusive marriages. Chisom eventually left Ubina and took everything she could. His sister stopped talking to him when the money dried up. Obina sat alone in the same house Adana once prayed in. He looked at the photo of her in one of her newspaper interviews and whispered, I had gold and I treated it like sand. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and share it with everyone who needs to hear it. Always choose peace, choose healing, and above all, choose yourself.